Sachin, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Shreya. So let me officially welcome all of you from TiE Coimbatore, TiE Vadodara, and TiE Lucknow, and some of, I was told, are non-members also joining us. It's good to see so many people taking time out on a Sunday morning when you are generally relaxed and you here for a work mode. You are on work mode now. So for those of you who are new to TiE or for the non-members, I'll quickly introduce you to what TiE is and what it stands for. So TiE stands for the Indus Entrepreneurs. It's world's largest non-profit network of entrepreneurs across the world. There are 60 plus chapters. Headquartered in Silicon Valley, was started in 1991 and 92 rather. And by Indians, of course, that's why this name, Indus Entrepreneurs. India also has 16 plus chapters, out of which 3 of the chapters have collaborated for today's event, TiE, Coimbatore, and Vadodara. So the motto of TiE is to foster entrepreneurship, and to live up to this motto, today we have a program. We keep having these kind of events and workshops where we at TiE believe that learning should continue lifelong, because generally, I mean, the traditional wisdom used to say that once you've completed your studies and you are in business, you generally continue. But with the changing dynamics in today's world, we continuously need to upgrade ourselves. And there's so many, facets to a business that it's not easy to, keep up to the pace of the new developments every time. So that's when ecosystem like TiE comes in support. I'm personally very keen on, learning from this workshop. I am sure by the end of this, in fact, I have a notebook and pen ready with me. I'm sure there'll be a lot of learnings and takeaways for all of you. So with this note, I will welcome on board Ms Ranjana Singhal, President of TiE Coimbatore, to say a few words on today's topic, and of course, something about Coimbatore, how it's doing there. Over to you, Ranjana ji.
Thank you, Sachin. And I completely resonate what you said, that learning is inevitable and learning is important to stay relevant in all spaces of our lives. So good morning, everyone. Happy to join this session. My name is Ranjana Singhal. I'm current TiE President of Coimbatore Chapter, Managing Director of Cafe Dotaram Private Limited, co-founder, partner at That's Why Food on the Go at Coimbatore. I'm basically a food entrepreneur. It's a pleasure to collaborate with TiE Lucknow and TiE Vadodara for the session today. Okay, TiE Coimbatore. TiE Coimbatore is one of the younger chapter in TiE network, founded by leading industrialists across the sectors. TiE Coimbatore aims at supporting entrepreneurs in Coimbatore region to become global leaders and nurturing an innovative entrepreneurial ecosystem in the region. An interesting fact about my city is that 1 in every 4 people is an entrepreneur. So Coimbatore is famous for the entrepreneurial spirit. That is the focus of most people here. Today, we have all gathered to gain insight on how to onboard the best talent, and I look forward to the session. I take this opportunity to welcome all of you and thank both Lucknow and TiE Vadodara for the collaboration. Looking forward to more session together in future. Sachin, that's what we are aiming at, to have, as what you said, we are a large extended family. It's important that we keep meeting often our cousins from far off places. So over to you. Look forward to the session, Mr. Neelesh and Mr. Rajesh. Thank you very much coming on board.
Thank you so much, Ranjana ma'am, for that insight. A lot about Coimbatore, which I did not know also. Very good insights also. And I would now like to invite Ms Shweta Upadhayay, who's the Executive Director and also a Charter Member from TiE Vadodara, to express her thoughts on the topic, please.
Thank you, Shreya. An amazing note set by Sachin and Ranjana. Always look forward to Coimbatore and Lucknow on whatever they keep doing. And Vadodara has been a very new chapter in the entire ecosystem of TiE, and we've been, over thrilled to be a part of this entire journey of learning and experiencing entrepreneurship from every angle that we have. It's women, it's young entrepreneurs, it's the existing entrepreneurs giving back to the society. So it's an amazing experience that we've been into, and we've done many events in the past 1 year. TiE Vadodara happens to be centrally placed in Gujarat, and we are very excited and very lucky to have to have been filled with small and medium enterprises around us. I think Baroda is known for family businesses and electrical and electronic industries. Of course, we are surrounded by pharma. So that ways, I think we are blessed with the very rich culture of entrepreneurship that we've been experiencing and tasting, and have that kind of support around Baroda. For us, I'm also being joined by our secretary, Mr. Darshan Chandan. The team, I think today's topic, we couldn't focus more on it, in the current times when the world was stopped, and we were forced to not sit together and even be with each other, and have learned new ways of communication. And I think it's so important if the team understands us well and resonates with your idea and your thought and what you want to do in the given timeline that you want to do it. It is possible. We've all seen it. The world is still functional, and TiE Vadodara, looking from TiE perspective, not just my business perspective, which happens to be a Unified Growth Foundation and Unidiversity. We work with about 35 universities in the state of Gujarat. But I can only not press more on having the best team and finding the right team that resonates with you. On this point, I remember a quote that was said by Mr. Robert Auburn, and he said that find a team who can laugh with you. They can definitely work with you also. So I think having a great team who supports and understands and resonates with your idea and vision is primary to reaching anything. And really looking forward to having amazing insights from Mr. Rajesh and Neelesh. Really looking forward to this session, and thank you to TiE Lucknow, Gaurav, Shreya, Sachin, everyone to coordinate with Vadodara, and I'm sure everybody is going to take away a lot of things from here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Shweta ma'am, for that beautiful insight also. And very rightly so, having the best team means so much. And on that note, I would like to call upon Mr. Devesh Agarwal, who's the event chair from TiE Lucknow, part of our team, and a very, very integral part too.
Thank you, Shreya. Regret my camera is not working. So human resource is the backbone of any organization, even probably more than funding. It is the human resource which is of utmost importance. And TiE Lucknow is actually planning a series of events as far as human resource is concerned. To begin with, we have gathered today for employee onboarding, and probably in the coming times, we will be organizing sessions related to employee training, employee engagement, even employee promotions. Now, basically to support MSMEs and startups, we have initiated this particular series of events. And on today, we are having two learned speakers, Dr. I and Mr. Neelesh with us. So as far as the agenda and agenda of the today's session is concerned, we will be dividing the today's program into two parts, the part 1 and part 2. Both the parts will be simultaneously handled by both the speakers. After part 1, there will be part 1 will be followed by a question answer, and again thereafter and after part 2, again we will be having question answers. And at the end of the session, a document in the form of in a PDF document will be shared with all the participants. So over to you, Shreya.
Thank you, Devesh, for that. And with great pleasure, I would like to open the session by inviting both our speakers. So our first speaker for the day is a master coach, HR strategist, corporate advisor, and an independent director at a listed company. With over 5,000 plus hours of coaching experience with leaders of the market leader, he is none other than Mr. Rajesh Mohan Rai. Mr. Rajesh passionately believes in the power to change, improve, and develop, no matter what stage in life you are at. He jointly holds the Guinness Book of World Record for making 1356 people walk on fire, awarded as one of the 100 most influential HR leaders by World HRD Congress in 2018. He has held various leadership positions in HR at Aviva Life Insurance, Microsoft Corporation India, and HRNXC. The list of applause from Dr. Rajesh can go on, and we are more than delighted to have you on board with us, sir. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Shreya. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And our second speaker for the day is Mr. Nilesh Kapoor, who is a member of TiE Lucknow itself. He is the CEO of #Bazaar, which is a socially impacting e-commerce startup from Lucknow. Apart from this, he is also a people development coach, HR consultant, author, and a capacity development professional. He has successfully authored many self-help books, created programs in talent onboarding, performance management, and many, many more. A learner at heart, he has won many accolades in various operations, learning and development, HR, and management processes in the various organizations he has worked with. We welcome you on board, sir, and look forward to some very, very insightful learning with you.
Thank you, Shreya. Thank you.
Thank you, Nilesh ji. Over to both of you, and look forward to a very insightful learning session with you all.
Great. So, Nilesh, if you allow me, may I start?
Sure. Please do. Dr. Rajesh, over to you.
So, first and foremost, thank you, TiE Lucknow, for having this session. And thank you, TiE Coimbatore and TiE Vadodara for joining in. I'm passionate about this subject for a couple of reasons. And the first reason is, as entrepreneurs, we are always in a state of dilemma. Should we get the right talent first and then grow the business? Or should we grow the business and then get the right talent on board? Right? And this is again, and I put it very, very crudely, says, अच्छे लोग लाएं तो धंधा आए, कि धंधा आए तो अच्छे लोग लाएं. And this confusion, this dilemma always remains with an entrepreneur, right? And more so in my own experience, when I manage family-run businesses, I support, not manage, but support family-run businesses, startups, whether it's a fintech or a tech startup. This dilemma remains till the time you have reached a certain size when it comes to startup, or you have created a brand, if not everywhere, in your own area, in your own state, in your own region, to get the best talent. Because it is not about just offering the money. It is just not about offering the money and then get the best talent, right? It is beyond that, right? Why would somebody, I'm giving a hypothetical example. You may have deep enough pockets, deep enough. I mean, like, would you? I mean, like, we just know that Leena Nair left as CHRO of Unilever India and joined CEO of Chanel. If whatever salary is being paid to her, I mean, if we can match or maybe give a 20% increase, would she be interested in joining our business? That's a question which we need to be asking ourselves all the time, right? So let me begin our session. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. Right now, so this is what I mean. Like, we are getting into the cricket season. I wanted to share a good news and a bad news. Good news is that the under-19 Indian cricket team has defeated England under-19 team to win the under-19 World Cup. And this morning we heard passing away of Lata Mangeshkar ji. So it's not been, I mean, like, last evening was a good day, a lot of excitement. And this morning has been, and that's how the life is, right? So I mean, like, moving ahead, that IPL has decided to one more team to 2020 session, and you have been made in charge to assemble the team.
Rajesh, I think the screen.
Oh, yeah, screen is not visible, sir.
The PPT is not visible.
PPT is not visible, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
so the team has been, I'll just project the previous one, that the IPL team has been added and you are made the in charge to assemble the team. So that's the question which I'm asking. What is your approach?
Definitely the third one, like the aggressive approach the bowler had.
Okay, which primarily means it's just a picture, Rupesh. Whenever we are assembling a team, we would always, Shweta, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think, what I get from here is like a right mix of everyone. Like there should be bowler, there should be a wicket keeper, there should be a good batsman and, somebody to surround. So I think, yeah, that's what I take away from here.
Correct. And secondly, with the restriction of the purse, right? With the restriction of the purse. कभी किसी को मुकम्मल जहां नहीं मिलता, कभी जमीन तो कभी आसमान नहीं मिलता, right? कभी अच्छे लोग नहीं मिलते, कभी अच्छे लोगों के लिए देने लायक पैसा नहीं होता, right? And that's the approach wherein we need to create a right mix, right? And then when we talk of the talent in our context, right? So why do we need to attract and select the best talent? That's a basic question. Why are we putting that prefix of best, a superlative degree, before we use the word talent? Right? And before I proceed further, let me make this very, very clear. The best talent definition is not rigid, is not fixed. It purely depends on the stage of business you are at. Right? So from say if you're traveling your journey from 50 crore to 100 crore, the best talent may not fit in your next journey of 100 to 500 crore. Right? So the definition or the meaning or the expression of best talent keeps evolving all the time. Right? Imagine a situation and the IPL cricket team, you already have a wicket keeper or maybe two of them in place, and I'm like Mahendra Singh Dhoni is available to you as a player at say 5 crores, which is the usual price, maybe 15 crores. You would not like to invest that 5 crore because you already have that two people in that position, right? So best talent is not absolute. It is always relative. Okay. So as I say, I mean, like, this is one of my favorite quotes. You have to find out where are you. So there are three types of companies, right? Those who make it happen. Second is those who watch it happen. The third one is those who wonder what happened. And the difference is human resources. Please remember, when I say human resources, I'm not talking of the human resource function. I'm not talking of the people who process the payroll, manage the attendance, or pass the travel bills, etc., etc. I'm talking of human resources. So if you are part of an organization, you are as much human resource as an office boy would be, right? And that's where we need to ensure that we create in our own context, pick up the best talent available, right? And this is what says, please take care of your employees. Employees would take care of your customers, and the customers would take care of your business. That's the importance. That's the importance of talent. Right? Now let me ask you. Yeah, Nilesh, you want to say something?
I just wanted to, actually, I was remembering Sir Richard Branson's quote that if you take care of employees, they'll take care of the business. You don't need to actually think. And as we were referring to the human resources earlier, basically it is all about, a business is all about the people who are there. So I think it is exactly what Sir Richard Branson's statement said. So just wanted to pitch in that.
Thank you, Nilesh. So let me ask a question. It is open to everyone. And we can, who is the heaviest animal in jungle? Yes, Rupesh.
Elephant.
Elephant. Do we all agree that in the jungle, elephant is the heaviest animal, right? Who is the tallest?
Giraffe.
Giraffe, right? Who is the fastest?
Leopard.
Leopard.
Leopard, cheetah, tiger. I mean, like the same family. Who is the cleverest?
The fox.
The fox, right? But now tell me, who is the king of the jungle?
Lion.
Lion. Neither the heaviest, nor the fastest, nor the cleverest, nor the tallest is still the king of the jungle. Right? Why? Because of the courage. The lion is always willing to take things head on. Right? So if you guys are the king of your own kingdom, be the lion. Take everything head on. Whether it is related to finances, market, most important, human resources. Right? Create that compelling vision for your organization to attract the best talent. Right? Because best talent wants to join the best of the organizations. Like the best talent keeps evolving, the best of the organizations also keeps evolving. We need to understand the need of the talent. As entrepreneurs, you should actually be prepared for a shock. The Gen Z, people born after 2002, when they come to the workforce, right? You guys you would not realize how you would be facing them. You make an offer, you go to an engineering college. Shweta, you go to an engineering college in Vadodara to make an offer, or Darshan goes to it, or the other people go to Coimbatore college to make an offer. You know, the first thing when you make an offer, what is the person or the candidate doing? Make a guess.
Is he comparing it online?
Huh?
Is he putting it and comparing it online?
No, he goes to the placement coordinator, Shweta, and ask, ये company पिछले साल campus आई थी? And if the answer is yes, बोला किस किस को लेके गई, मेरे को फोन करके बताओ. पूछता है वो अपने सीनियर से कि ठीक है, कंपनी ने ऑफर दिया है, चलेगी, डूब तो नहीं जाएगी.
So it's the other way now compared to older days.
Correct. Right? Darshanji, you will not believe, I have seen this with my own eyes. In one of the companies, which was again a family managed company, the vice president is talking to a management graduate who's empty, still 4 or 5 months old in the system. And when the management trainee was trying to explain him something, the vice president got annoyed. And he said, you just keep quiet, I'm the vice president of the company. You know what the management trainee is saying? Sir, so what if you are the vice president of the company? If I would have been born 20 years ago, even I would have been a vice president today.
What an answer.
Right? So they are looking for leaders who can actually add value to them and just not put or use their hierarchical position. Now, these are the challenges. This is where the best of the organizations, I mean, like once we complete this entire session, you would realize that we have always focused, and this entire thing is focused on the softer aspects of hiring. Right? How can we be different from the organizations of our size in our industry, in our region? So why somebody should join Darshan's organization and not a competition in the same region, in the same industry? So that's what the talent is looking for. A sense of community, authenticity from the leader. And when I say leader, I don't mean only the business owner, even the business leaders. Significance, their job should add value to the organization, right? It should add excitement. The energy, the excitement of the energy of the leaders should get passed on, right? And this is what we call acronym is the case. Community, authenticity, significance, and excitement. Please ensure that as business leaders, we create that case with our to be talent all the time. And once they come on board, we need to continue creating our case with them all the time. So communities, talents have a deep-rooted desire to belong, to feel, what we say, the part of something bigger. And that's where it makes sense. It's the community, right? Authenticity is that they're walking the talk. Talents were leaders to show what they really are, to reveal the real human qualities and interest. Feel like they matter, that their efforts are worthwhile and meaningful. And an excitement, talents need to feed off the energy, the enthusiasm and passion of their leader in order to deliver that extra effort and exceptional performance. So how to attract the best talent? That's the question. Any thoughts, Neelesh, from your end, how to attract the best talent?
So again, if we look at how to attract the talent, there are so many ways the organizations look at. Whether it's right now using the social media, whether we are looking at some referrals from the existing employees, which is probably one of the most used things. If you have created the case, as you just mentioned, right? What happens is that when you are planning to attract the people, there are a few things which you need to have in your organization, which actually creates that pull towards your organization, right? Modes, of course, there are so many sources which are already available. Whether it's some previously applied people whom, or even the head hunting, which you can do using these online portals like LinkedIn. That's a very good resource where you can actually try to look at the specific competency sets that you want in the people that you want to onboard. So that creating that culture is important. The vision, of course, as you rightly mentioned a little while back, all of that is important so that you are able to attract the right talent to your organization.
Thanks. Thank you, Nilesh. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
These are some of the sources what Nilesh just mentioned. Social media, previously applied, conferences, job portals, campuses, employee referrals, etc., etc. I mean, like, these are some of those. I mean, like, there in the old days, we used to advertise in newspapers and all also.
Yes.
So I mean, like, those are some of those sources to attract the talent towards us. And that's what I said. Steps to attract the best talent is the leadership, the vision, the culture. Leadership, we have already spoken about that. You as leaders, you need to create the case, which is community, authenticity, significance, and excitement. You need to have a very compelling vision, right? You ask people in your interviews, right? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Have you prepared that answer to this question for the organization? Do we have the answer for this question for our organizations, for yourself, that where do we want to be in 5 years from now? Right now, in the lighter vein, now people have started saying, sir, hopefully the corona would have ended. Right, so I would be in my office. Right, so I'm like, the vision, you have to have the vision, wherein how do you communicate it? Right, you want to communicate like this. We are a company in this industry, and we would like to be the number one in our industry in say 3 years, 5 years from now? Or would you like to communicate, we are the fastest growing company in the domain and we would like to be the market leader by 2025? Right? The first way it was expressed was extremely monotonous, without energy, which conveys a meaning that you are not sure why we are what you are saying and why you are saying. The second is energy. Energy is contagious. Right? The positive energy, the enthusiasm is contagious. When we talk of culture, this is what I said. People actually find out. People go to the glass door and find out any employees have posted anything on Glassdoor, right, about the organization they are about to join, right? Look up to on Instagram and the LinkedIn's to find out, do in any of their connections if somebody has worked there, because they want to be doubly sure that they are joining an organization whose culture would propel them to excel, would allow them to excel and just not do the mundane things. Right? And that's where it is important to that leadership, the vision and the culture of the leaders, not only the business owners. So authentic leadership, best talents are attracted to leaders who are authentic, excite people to exceptional performance and not afraid to show their weaknesses. And when we talk of weaknesses, we are talking of allowable weakness and not the fatal flaws. A chartered accountant cannot say, I can't make a balance sheet or I can't tally a balance sheet. That's a fatal flaw. Right? I mean, like a person, I'm just talking of the fatal flaws. A person at the reception cannot be allowed to stammer. Right? That's a fatal flaw. Right? Emotionally unstable, mood swings, a leader cannot. It's a fatal flaw. मालूम नहीं कि बेड की किस तरफ से उतरेंगे तो दिन अच्छा जाएगा, किस दूसरी तरफ से उतरेंगे तो दिन खराब जाएगा, हमें मालूम ही नहीं है. हम भगवान से सिर्फ यही प्रार्थना करते हैं दाहिनी तरफ से उतरे आज बॉस हमारा, बाईं तरफ से ना उतरे. Right? Because that's a fatal flaw. Okay? Compelling vision. I mean, like this is what we talk to create. IKEA is just giving as example the bigger ones to create a better everyday life for many people, and Tesla to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. That's the compelling vision we are talking of. Right? The example why I give always the big examples for one simple reason, because that's the biggest mistake we make as small and medium enterprises, because we only think like a small business. Please remember, every company which started, right, was a small business sometime, right? Like us, like we are today. Anywhere between say 10, 12, 15 crores to maybe 1,000 crore. But that's what we are. But then these people, these companies were also small sometime. But the leaders have shown courage. मुझे नहीं मालूम है how many people have seen that video of Tesla CEO. वो गाड़ी पे हथौड़ा परवाया, गाड़ी टूट गई. Right? Instead of sheepishly shying away from that, and he said, we need to work more. Right? And that's the leadership, that's the compelling vision we're talking of. Create that compelling vision. How many of us actually go to various forums to address and talk to the students? Have we created, I mean, like just having a PR company or a corporate communication doesn't build the brand. No.
I think sir is stuck. Please.
Hello? Am I?
Yeah, the video got stuck. Yes.
Oh, okay. Right. So that's where we need to be thinking big. Nilesh, you want to say something?
Just probably one vision statement which I usually have been having in my mind is the Amazons, which is one very simple statement: to be the Earth's most customer centric company. That's it. A compelling vision that whatever efforts are there are directed towards the customer. And I think that is, see, if any vision is clear and the vision is there where everybody has participated in building that vision, everybody will be focusing towards getting it done. Then it won't be, as we were discussing also during our one of our earlier meetings, vision kiska? Lala ji ka. Pura kaun karenge? Lala ji. Right? So it is exactly true. How many people have been involved in building our company's vision? How many stakeholders? Do they have equally participated in it? Even the ones from different functions, cross-functional teams. And I think that is what is going to help in building that vision, which compels the people to get attracted to the organization.
Thank you, Nilesh. I just wanted you guys to. I'm sure most of us are at our respective places, and they can imagine a Bisleri water bottle or a Kinley bottle or a Aquafina water bottle, right? Can you guys visualize? Right. Now tell me, where is the bottle? Where is the neck in the bottle? Bottle की गर्दन कहाँ होती है?
On the top of the bottle.
On top of the bottle. Please remember, bottlenecks are always at the top. आप अपने अपने बिजनेस के सबसे बड़े bottleneck है. Right? जोर का झटका जोर से लग गया. Right? Please remember, you are the biggest bottleneck of your own business because you don't delegate. 25 रुपए से लेके 25 करोड़ की मशीनरी का वाउचर आप ही साइन करते हैं पेमेंट के लिए. Right? आप ये तो एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि MIS एग्जीक्यूटिव को कुछ पता लगे तो वो आपको बताए, लेकिन जो आपको पता लगेगा वो MIS एग्जीक्यूटिव को कैसे पता लगेगा? फिर देन वी क्रिप कि यार इसका MIS ठीक नहीं आता. There are many factors which influence. That's what I'm saying. Neoteric culture, work in the organization where there's a culture of continuous improvement, innovation, synergy. As an organization, I allow my people to commit a new mistake every day. Every day, new mistake. Repetition pe, I would be the most cruel person on this earth. Right? New mistake is allowed every day. It doesn't mean that they do, the team does or commit the mistake every day, but that's what it is allowed. They're free. Okay. So how to hire the best talent? So that's a discussion. May I request if whatever people can be on camera for a discussion of this, right? What is the cost of a wrong hire?
I would say immense. I mean, one mistake and the plan that you have goes topsy-turvy. Let's say you're launching. I mean, it's happened with me also personally. I mean, cost. I mean, a lot of times what entrepreneur, a small entrepreneur or young entrepreneur does is, that you are in a hurry to actually onboard the whole team so that you can start rolling. And if there are 5-member team and one person doesn't contribute what he's supposed to be contributing, whole plan goes topsy-turvy. You're supposed to be there in 3 months, but what happens is in 3 months you're just about managing the team energy, the team. I mean, there are costs. I mean, you would know better as coming from the domain. Personally, I feel 2 दिन ज़्यादा दे दो आप और interview ले लो, probably go deeper into particular shortlisted candidates, but don't hire till you are sure. This is my take.
Correct, Sachin. The point what I'm trying to make is, the higher you go, the higher you, the higher in the hierarchy you get hired, the cost is likely to be more. Imagine a situation wherein you have hired somebody at 6 lakh rupees as the annual CTC. Make a guess what would actually be the cost. और 4 महीने के बाद बंदा छोड़ गया. 6 महीने 6 लाख रुपया पर एनम का CTC हमने ऑफर किया, बंदे ने ज्वाइन किया, 4 महीने हमने उसको 50,000 रुपए दिए और चौथे महीने में छोड़ गया. What is the actual cost which we have paid?
At least the 5 times of what we have paid.
Absolutely. And the more, ये अगर आप विश्वास जानेंगे दर्शन जी, अगर यही बंदा 60 लाख का होता, which means the person would have been slightly more up in the hierarchy, this could go up to 30 times. Right? And the challenge, which is what we say is, it's quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative तो हमने कर लिया, 4 महीने की सैलरी, रिक्रूटमेंट फीस, मैनेजमेंट टाइम, ट्रेनिंग, ऑनबोर्डिंग, सब करने का जो टाइम लगाया था हमने, उसको तो हमने आवरली बेस पे कर करके उसको कर लिया. बट व्हाट अबाउट, दिस इज व्हाट वी से, द एवरेज कॉस्ट, इट्स अ करियर बिल्डर सर्वे which says $14,900, which is 11,17,500 rupees gets lost an average of a cost of a wrong hire. So every wrong hire would cost a company this, right? And this is what the qualitative, this is more difficult to quantify. Loss in productivity, loss in synergy, loss of clients, loss of market reputation, loss of morale of employee, the team members, right? And this is what is qualitative, and this value can be anything. Imagine loss in market reputation, the people are not willing and joining you anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe a lawsuit. सारी जिंदगी निकल गई.
Definitely.
Right? So that's what I say is, the more the hierarchy, the higher you are in the hierarchy, the more the cost of a wrong hire. Okay. So this is what says, Jack Welch says, getting the right people in the right jobs is more important than developing a strategy. Understand where real value is added and put your best people there. Okay. Any thoughts, Nilesh?
So basically what happens is, I would like to share an example here.
Yeah,
actually, from one of my organizations. One change, one zonal head from a different industry without having a know-how about how to go about doing things in the current setup, and which actually led to the downfall of the performance of that zone, and it cost around 3.5 crores to the organization in a couple of quarters. And that was only one part of it. See, if you do not have the right type of people in the right jobs, problem happens in terms of getting that performance delivered. Right now, for any organization, what the end result is that the performance should constantly be improving, right? So hiring the right person for the right job. Like there was a query which was raised by Rupesh. Rupesh Ojhaji had asked, in sales jobs, people get fired too rapidly. No, again, are we right? Are we having the right person fitting in the type of role we are looking at? If we do not have that, we might have the best strategy. But if we do not have the right set of people handling sales, it will never going to affect, it is never going to affect our business. And there are tools which we are going to talk about so that you can get that right person in the right job. So
Thank you, Nilesh. Thank you so much. Anybody else who has any thoughts on this before we proceed further?
So
I had a doubt actually.
Andar,
Yeah, hi. I had a doubt.
please go ahead.
The thing is, when we are a startup, we initially focus on hiring interns, and when we are talking about interns, the thing is they are not very. We can say they are not very professional. They don't have any. They don't have any liability towards the company also, because they are just temporary. They also know their role, and we also know. But then the productivity of the company is hampered a lot when they leave, because what they have done cannot be taken up by other interns, and so on. There are many other problems. So could you just give a brief idea of about hiring interns also?
Andar, the question is, have we shown them enough vision so that they continue? When you say intern, matlab anybody.
Yeah.
No, anybody who's is like we say na, wo trespassers would be fired. तो वो बीपीओ के सामने लिख दिया trespassers would be hired.
hello.
Sir, I think your voice is not audible.
So I think basically the reference is what type of interns are coming in, and that's what. Yeah.
So
my question is to Neelesh ji.
Yeah.
जैसे कि अभी आपने बताया, like we need certain tools to hire sales people.
Not sales for that matter. See, there are different types of tools available which can be used to match the specific type of person for a specific type of job, and that is something that we will be sharing a couple of those.
Great.
Yeah, over to you. Right.
Yeah, so I mean, like this was just an example. This would go as part of the handout, right? So this is what we talk of the competency based interviewing, and this is what we say that this should be the core of your hiring process, right? So competency is a combination of knowledge, skill, and attitude, right? A behavior which is exhibited on the job, which yields superior performance, right? So leadership, customer service, teamwork, etc., which is the knowledge, skill, and the attitude, where these three circles, which is the common area of these three, is what we call it as the competency. And how is this competency derived? From the vision, mission, values, and then the competencies, right? Please remember this, that once we define our vision, define our mission, define our values, we must define our competency, right? And we need to relook at least once in 3 years the competencies, because the business environment keeps changing. We are growing. The number of people who are coming on board is growing, right? And so we need to relook at our competencies every 3 years. Some of the competencies which are required today may not be required 3 years down the line. I'm saying may not. I'm choosing my words very, very carefully. So that's about the competency, right? And that's what we say. How do we define the competency framework or derive the competency framework is what we call it as core competency, the leadership competencies, and the role competencies. So when we talk of core competencies, it is from chaprasi to chairman, everyone has to exhibit that. Their meaning may vary. So a customer focus for a person sitting at the reception and the customer focus or customer centricity for the business owner may vary, the meaning, right? But they have to exhibit customer centricity, and that's where the core competency is. Leadership competency, the entrepreneurial spirit, business acumen, driving change, driving engagement. These are some of those competencies which are driven at the leadership level. When we talk of role competencies, I mean, like we may define a couple of them for different roles: the finance role, the HR role, the production role, the manufacturing role, the quality role, the SEM role, whatever. I'm like, that's how the competency framework it gets developed, right? Now, this is where competency translate the strategic vision and goals of the organization into behaviors or actions employees must display for the organization to be successful. And please remember, गंगा जो है वो गंगोत्री से निकलती है और बे ऑफ बंगाल में जाती है, right? What I'm trying to convey is that you as entrepreneurs start living these competencies first, exhibiting these competencies first. Any approach of any kind except for building target should be top down. Building the number should always be bottoms up, right? Now, competency-based interviews, this is the definition we're talking of: test whether a candidate has the precise knowledge, skills, or attitude that are necessary to be effective in the role. Any questions so far?
Rajesh, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What are the three major important points to look into while hiring a candidate in any of the sector?
Three major
important points, not in terms of qualification. Three important points which any small company or a 100-year-old company needs to see before hiring a before hiring a candidate, according to you.
Qualification, relevant experience, and relevant attitude.
Okay.
अब now आप ये पूछ सकते हैं कि ये कैसे चेक किया जा सकता है?
Yes.
तो क्वालिफिकेशन के लिए बैकग्राउंड वेरिफिकेशन क्वालिफाई हम लोग चेक कर सकते हैं. सेकंड इज रेलेवेंट एक्सपीरियंस, बिकॉज व्हेन आई से रेलेवेंट एक्सपीरियंस डजंट मीन कि आप ही की इंडस्ट्री से, वो जो जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन है जिसमें लिखा है, right? And that's where we need to find out. I'll tell you an example. I was consulting with a plywood company, right? And the entire branding and ATL BTL team had no experience in the plywood industry. People were hired from Bata, people were hired from Sony, people were hired from Philips, people were hired from Crompton, right? Because the need of the hour was that the new blood, new thought process has to come in, right? And that's where the job description plays a very important role. दर्शन, ये ना एक कंपनी की फिलॉसफी के ऊपर भी होता है. And I'm just sharing one philosophy of Microsoft. It says we would hire the person and not a person. द्वंद्व में काना राजा नहीं लेंगे, जो राइट फिट होगा वही लेंगे. We at Microsoft we were willing to keep the position open for 3 years. वो अलग बात है कि रिक्रूटर जो था उनकी पोजीशन, उसकी KRA KPI हिट होते थे, but they would not hire a compromised candidate. So they would hire the person and not a person. कि आज इससे काम चला लेते, कल देख लेंगे. Right?
So can I have ask another question here at this point in time, or should
please go ahead?
Yeah. So my question is how to identify the right attitude. I mean, first, what are the tools which will help us ascertain that this is the attitude which is required for a particular role? And number two, how would you in an interview identify that this attitude which we've actually identified, this as particular trade skills you are able to, because let's say a particular skill, you test them on those skills, but attitude, how to ascertain that ये वाला attitude इस candidate के अंदर है क्या?
मैं सचिन जी इसको आगे लेने वाला था, लेकिन क्योंकि आपने पूछा है तो मैं बता देता हूं। इसको हम एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं।
आप बाद में बता देना।
That's fine. I'm like we can reinforce that. जैसे एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं drive for results. That's the attitude we are trying to evaluate. Now the question which somebody should be asking, or the leadership team should be asking from a candidate, that tell me a situation wherein you had to achieve something which could be achieved in a quarter, but you were given only 50 days. Right? Or tell me a situation wherein you required some 6 resources and you were given only 4. Right? Ask those questions. What was the situation? What was the action? What was the task? What did the action? What did the person? What were the actions taken by the person? Right? What was the reasons of taking those actions? What were the results of taking that action? Right? Tell me a situation wherein you had to change the course of your action midway. Now the answers would throw some light on whether the person has that attitude to drive for results or result orientation, or it is just that we are talking. And then you can have multiple questions on the same subject. Right? Then we talk of the resources were less. So one side, when we talk of resources as the manpower resources were less, sometimes tell the budget was a constraint. I'll just tell you an example. We were doing an activity which was a treasure hunt for one of our clients. हमने उनको 200 रुपए दिए and we gave them a task. पूरा बॉम्बे शहर घूमना था उनको. The entire Bombay city had to be there, and then says कि जो कम पैसे खर्च करके आएगा वो विनर होगा. There was, out of 40, there were some 27, 28 people who actually 200 के 200 वापस कर दिए और 1000 रुपए और दे दिया आपको. Right? And they completed the entire task. Because it was a treasure hunt, so we had planned that they had to visit. ऐसा नहीं हो कि अपनी जेब से आपको पैसे निकाल के दे दिए. पैसे वैसे सब रखा लिए गए थे. They had just 200 rupees given to them, and the treasure hunt route with the hints at every location they were, and they came. So this is what the drive, the results for drive, result orientation, achievement orientation. This is what we are talking of. Right? Like when we're talking of customer focus as a customer centricity as a competency. Tell me a time when you had actually gone against the official order to help a client. Official order था कि यहीं रोक दो, but then you had gone beyond, right? Or you had put in effort to convince your supervisor to do some extra for a customer.
So would you also be sharing a list of attributes or the attitudes which are required for a particular kind of role?
No,
that would be very helpful.
Sachin ji, this is where we take result orientation or derive for results is required for everywhere. Not only sales. Would you not like your head of finance to complete the balance sheet every month on the 2nd of the next month?
Right.
Right. So it's for everyone.
Thanks.
Now, this is the impact of, there is an impact of perception. So what do you see? Guys, please, मेरे को ये बताएं, क्या दिख रहा है आपको? And let's interact on this. Devesh ji, क्या दिख रहा है आपको?
Fairy tales.
Fairy दिख रहा है ना? And Sachin, what do you see?
Angels in the universe.
Angels in the universe. Sachin ji, आपको क्या दिख रहा है? Sachin ji, unmute yourself, please.
So sorry. Yeah, sorry. So I could also see angels, hands folded, wings.
Right? Now, can anybody see bats in this picture?
Yeah, one person has replied. One person has replied.
One
Yes.
person has replied bat, right?
Right.
Now the question is, this is the impact of perception. If you are looking for angels and the person happens to be bat, and you see only the angels, the hiring is wrong. And that's why it's a sincere request, maybe the only takeaway in today's session. When you are interviewing a person, suspend all the judgment. Suspend all the judgment during the interview process. Okay, let me show you something more. Now tell me, what do you see? Quick answers.
Parrot.
Parrot. Right?
A parrot and a human, probably. Too.
Red parrot.
It's a parrot. Right? Darshanji, you see
It's
parrot?
a parrot and human sitting.
It's a red parrot.
It's a red parrot. Right?
There's a lady and
Uncle,
parrot.
what do you see?
Yeah. So on the first go, you are able to see a parrot, red color parrot. But then when you go deep, you see it probably is a human, a dancer, or probably with tattoo or colors around the body.
It's a body paint. Body paint of a human being. Right? And now, if once I have told you that it's a body painted human being in the shape of a parrot, you would find it difficult to look at the parrot.
Yes.
Unsee it, right?
Yeah, you can't unsee it. Right? So this is the importance. This is the importance of perception. And that's why I keep telling people, suspend the judgment. You must evaluate, but not judge. Right? And that's where we need to be very, very mindful of what we are doing with our people. How are we talking to them? Make that experience when you're calling somebody for an interview, make that experience a memorable one for the person. Don't make the person wait for 2 hours. And even if you have to wait, come and apologize. Come and apologize that I made you wait for 2 hours, but ensure that your office is taking care of the person. Otherwise, the person would leave with a bad memory and would go and tell some 200 people. So you are reducing your universe from where the talent would come. So these are the principles. These are the principle of what we call it as competency-based interviewing. Is past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior and performance. More recent the past behavior, the greater accuracy in predicting the future behavior. And open-ended questions are more effective. Right? And when we say more recent, the reason of putting this is that if you are hiring a general manager, right, with 20 years experience, and the person goes to the college days to explain a situation, which means that's not most recent one. In my previous job or in my previous to previous job, those are the examples which you need to be looking at. But when you are hiring a fresher or a person with 1.5, 2 years experience, going back to the college days is acceptable. Right? An open-ended question, which primarily means don't restrict the person to saying a yes or a no or a one-word answer. Okay. So this is what we say, that you prepare for the interview, you conduct the interview, and you evaluate the interviews. Right? So understand the role, evaluate the competency, prepare a list of questions. That's the preparation. Build rapport, ask questions, listen with intent, takes notes, probe and clarify. And then the evaluate is the review responses, classify quality of responses, and then score. So these are the three things which we do. I'm taking you back, which is prepare, conduct, and evaluate. That's how the CBI needs to be done. Now, this is again very, very interesting. The accuracy of predictions. आपको क्या लगता है कि हमारा इंटरव्यू जो है वो कितना % पर मतलब होता है, उसकी क्या एक्यूरेसी होती है? Guesses? Any guesses? No negative marking.
Yeah, but responses are required.
श्रेया, आप सिर्फ मॉडरेटर नहीं है, आप एक एंटरप्रेन्योर भी हैं, तो आप रिस्पॉन्ड कर सकती हैं.
So 25%.
That depends on who's taking the interview. You know, if I believe
अगर रिसर्च की बात करें तो irrespective कितने वो हो सकता है. अच्छा, मैं ये पूछता हूँ, is there any process which is foolproof?
Absolutely not.
Right, which means तुक्का लग रहा है.
No, not tukka. If it is a scientific, like you said before, if you're taking pointers into view, there the possibility of making a mistake can be much lower than it would be in a tukka. Much lower rather.
Let's see. Now I'm giving you some so-called bullets. Astrology, 0. Graphology, 0. Though I mean, like some of the provinces in France use graphology extensively for hiring. References, 12%. Interviews, 15%. Biodata form, 16%. Which is competency-based interviewing, 45%. Personality test, 55%. And the aptitude test, 60%. And assessment center, 68%. So that's the maximum, right? That's the maximum. Now, why I'm presenting this is that there is no way which is foolproof, right? And that's where जो हमें candidate की capability है और जो selection error है, right? Selection error को कम करते जाना है ताकि capability is true evaluation के नजदीक होती जाए, right? So I'm leaving this the next part to be taken, which is the use of psychometrics with my co-facilitator Neelesh. There are many tools which are available for using in hiring, and I would put the ball in Neelesh's court to explain one of them.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. So before we get into this, I would just like to ask, when we talk about psychological tests, what do we mean? Or personality tests or behavioral tests?
Your aptitude, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Shreya.
So basically, we mean that we are gauging an employee from different angles, and in order to make sure whether or not that particular employee would fit in our organization, in our ecosystem.
Okay. Okay.
I think if we very generically say it, I think what you're reviewing is behavioral responses under different situations or under different circumstances.
Okay, great. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you. Yes, Sangla, can we have?
Sorry. I believe it's the approach a person have towards the working profile which is given to him, which is we try to take it from psychometric tests and all.
Okay, sure. So thank you all for one more from Mr. Ashish Paul, trying to get an insight into the person's personality. Now, basically, when we talk about all of these, I don't know, some issue with the presentation.
It's going backwards.
Nilesh, have you got the control?
I think yes, now I do. Thank you. So basically, yes, what happens is this personal profile analysis is one of the tools that we make use of. We were talking about tools, right? And in the earlier slide itself, if we look at, we talked about personality tests. Now, this is one of the tests which is extensively used, conceptualized somewhere in the BCs, but devised in the present manner, which is again which has a you can say scientific method to it as to how to go about dealing with the mental assessment or measurement of the person on the different types of situations, behavioral or responses to the behavioral situations that the person will be responding to. So if you look at, I'm sure many of you would have heard the word DISC. Have you? How many of you have heard about DISC or Thomas or TPA?
This I have heard.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Okay. So you are already aware of what is DISC, the dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance thing?
Yeah.
Great. Have you already attempted this also?
No.
No.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. Not an issue. Anyhow, because this is a Thomas tool, so we won't be actually looking into getting it conducted here, but I'll be telling you about the usefulness of this tool and how this tool will actually be a very good thing in terms of finding out the right candidate. Now, the use of this tool can be made either prior to conducting the interviews or after it as well, right? So that's totally up to you. However, it is good if you can do it a little before you start the interview process. The benefits, basically, when we talk about, is it will provide information about your or the person's inherent behavior, how the person responds to a given change. There are so many situations when changes are required, and of course, in today's dynamic industries, that is something which is necessary. So that is something we need to look at. This is one thing where you will get help from. Pressure, how does a person react to pressure? Sales की हम बात करते हैं. Many a times, sales ही क्यों? There are so many other professions where there is lots of stress. How does a person behave under stress? That is what we get to know from this. How or what are those factors which motivate the individual to do something? Some inherent strengths of that individual. There might be some chances that a person is unable to perform in a specific type of situation or has some limitations. All of these things is what this PPA does. Now, how to use the PPA? It is a small set of questions, right? A 7-minute test. There are 4 words. You need to just, whatever is most like you and least like you just need to mark that. And then as a result, what you get is 3 graphs. These are the 3 graphs we get. First one being the work mask. Second is the behavior under pressure. And the third one is a self-image. Now, अगर हम work mask की बात करते हैं, what is it that you understand by this term? Anybody?
How are you when it comes to your professional side of you, basically, probably?
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Shreya. Anybody else?
I think, Neelesh, I think it's about the 2 things. One is masking that people do at work. Often they want to portray an image of themselves at workplace. And that's how they project themselves.
Okay. Thank you, Tess. Thank you. Anybody else would like to say anything other than what we've just heard from them, from Tess and from Shreya? So, okay.
Same.
Basically, we'll go with what Pes just mentioned. Whenever we are there at work, we are trying to project an image which we want the world to see, and that is called the work mask. Second is a behavior under pressure. When there is pressure, how is it that we react? And as a result, what comes out is the self-image that we get. Now, by answering those set of questions or comparative words, by marking them most and least, we are getting these three. And these will differ for different types of people. I would just like to tell you, if you're looking at this, so there are these four characteristics which we spoke about. D being dominant, I being influence, S being steadiness, and C being compliance. Now, on all the four parameters, there are different markings which are done. And these markings are on the basis of that very questionnaire. Though that is something which you can also do online right now. Thomas Assessments, which is actually handling this, is already having their tool also available online. But there is a manual process as well through which we can arrive at these graphs for different individuals. And it is a very useful tool, not only for what we are talking about today, hiring, but even other than this, it has so many uses in terms of the other say aspects, in terms of whether it's coaching an individual, performance management, development of the team, all of these. This actually comes out as a very useful and scientific tool. Just moving on. Now, basically, this four quadrant that we have been talking about, let me just show you diagrammatically how it works. So there can be two types of situations for every individual. Unfavorable situation, where the person finds the situation hostile, unfriendly, or antagonistic. And there might be some situations in the work or even at home for that matter, which are friendly. And there are active and passive behaviors on two ends. Now, in an unfavorable situation and active behavior, usually that is the dominance or the power comes in. Next, when it's a favorable situation and a person is behaving actively, that usually is the influence part of it. Favorable situation but passive, usually it is about pace, steadiness for that individual. And last is when we're talking about unfavorable situation and a passive behavior, it is usually, okay, I'll go with the flow as per whatever the policy says, I'll just adhere to that. So these are the four driving factors or the four quadrants on which DISC is based. This is a basic, I've just tried to compile or probably put together what is it that you should be looking at. Although iske liye there is another part of the same tool I'm going to just talk about next. But a high D, usually D or dominance, is more about result orientation that Dr. Rajesh just spoke about. So here, this is about driving, competitive. These are the characteristics of a high D person. Forceful, inquisitive, direct, self-starter, or assertive. However, in case if it is a low D person, the person might be hesitant, mild, low decision needs, non-demanding, and accommodating. So similarly on all these factors, and this is also there in the handout that we are providing to you. So probably this might become more useful to you even in the time to come. But what is important is, as we were just discussing, there is no tool which is 100% precise. So here also, whatever the type of responses the people who the job applicants have filled in, what type of a mind frame were they in while they were filling in the responses? And that is why when we conduct this Thomas assessment or a PPA tool, we just give them enough instruction to let their minds work through it. I think, let me just check the chat. Just a little while back, there was a question also around salespeople. Just missing the name. Can you just?
That is by Rupesh Ojha. In sales job, people
Rupesh.
got fired too rapidly. How to improve such?
Thank you. Thank you, Shreya. Thanks for the help. So, Rupesh, can you just help me through it?
What I assume that he wanted to mention over here is in many sales jobs, especially in these insurance companies and in banking companies, they are giving you certain types of target. And if you're not able to meet those target in the first month or probably in the next month, then they are like firing you out.
I'm sure if he would be able to throw some more light, it will be better. But see, here when we talk about this, basically what is happening is the specific type of characteristic that we are looking at. We were talking about it right now when Dr. Rajesh was explaining about the competency based interviewing. Now, if we have this right role competency is defined, right, then we would need to have that very type of a person who would fit that role. Now, this is just the profile of that individual that we have. But if we move on to the next graph, which usually is the responsibility of the organization, it is called the HJA, or the human job analysis. Again, a questionnaire, 24 questions. Usually it is required that there are 3 different stakeholders who are filling in this set of questions. Again, in terms of what type of requirement is there from the role that we are looking at. Once this gets done and the 3 graphs are made, or rather 3 people fill in that questionnaire, then all of those are clubbed, and then what comes out becomes the HJA, or a human job analysis graph, just like what we are seeing here. So it is completed by the 3 stakeholders, and now you have the exact behavioral characteristics, what we were talking about, which you require in the job, and you have the PPAs as well, which you got from the previous assessment. In this case, now, how are you using it? First, get this HJA done, profile these shortlisted candidates by administering the PPA exercise. Then you can generate and analyze relevant reports, which is again done through an online portal, as well as can be done manually. Interview the person and then do your selection on the basis of whatever you could find through this, as well as then doing the competency-based interviewing of that candidate. Now, when we're talking about this tool, I would just like to ask you, this is a HJA. What do you see in this? Anything above the line is a high, like a high D, high I, and anything below the line is called a low S. So this is more of a high D, high I, and high compliance profile. In case if there are these 3 candidates, this is A, this is B, and this is C. So can I have responses? Whom will you select?
The slide is moved.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Anybody? This is open for all.
So probably it will depend upon the profile.
Yeah, and the profile is on the left, the HJA. So the HJA, or the human job analysis, has been done. This is the type of person you require. And the 3 candidates are A, B, and C. Now, by seeing the comparative graphs, which will be a good person for fitting the role?
Neelesh, I'll go with C.
Even I'll go with
C. Okay. Okay.
Probably B.
B. I will go for B.
B for Bombay. Yeah.
Okay, B for Bombay. Thank you, Sachin. If I may ask, okay, why B?
Because like D, as far as J is concerned, first of all you have got D के बाद वो ग्राफ ऊपर होके I के पास जा रहा है, फिर I से वो नीचे होके S पे जा रहा है, then C पे जा रहा है. Then again I think the same pattern is in B also. जो HGA का pattern है वही same pattern is in B.
Same as my logic. So it's closest to the ideal candidate.
Okay, right. Thank you all for your inputs around this. So basically, yes, B will be the best suit fitting person if you have a maybe choice of A, B, and C only. In case if you have others, of course, you will need to find out who fits in the best. Now, the reason being, above the line, when we have D and I, both of them, S is below in terms of human job analysis graph, as well as the candidate B as well as C. But one difference which we can see, why is B and not C, would be a flick up and a flick down thing. So if you look at the HA, we want a flick up from S to going to C, which is there in the graph B, but not there in graph C. So I think all of you who thought that the B is the best fit for this, or B will be the person you'll select, that is bang on. Now, this is a tool which is offered by Thomas. And of course, if any of you are interested, you can look into getting in touch, maybe through us or directly also. They are the ones who are conducting not only these, but there are many other psychometric tests which they conduct. But this is one which is quite helpful in terms of shortlisting the candidates so that you get that best or the right person for the type of role that you're looking at. So I'll just pass on the baton back to Dr. Rajesh.
Thank you, Nilesh.
Welcome.
So this is where, with a word of caution, what Nilesh said is, हमें ये तो मालूम है कि एक्सरे की फिल्म दिखती कैसी है, right? और वो एक्सरे में देखना क्या है, उसके लिए रेडियोलॉजिस्ट की जरूरत पड़ती है. तो आप लोग अपना अपना काम धंधा छोड़ के रेडियोलॉजिस्ट मत बन जाइएगा when it comes to disc or any other tool, right? Always use somebody who's expert.
Yes.
Okay. Now this is what we say, that people who have to be onboarded. So the best talent is people, the learning, and the processes. These three needs to be taken into account. So people primarily for fostering meaningful relationships. Onboarding is all about connection. New employees want relationship to, and to feel supported. And that's they value the candid feedback and clear communication. Again, particularly from the leaders and managers. People is about fostering, again, as a planned meeting with key people with organization at regular intervals. Appoint a buddy. Encourage tenure employees to reach out and send a welcome package. This is how we keep doing. Learning is workers enter the organization with a plethora of questions. And the biggest question is, how do I fit in? Or what's the place? Will I fit in? So to crave answers and learning experience that will help them reach their full potential. Yet only 29% of the new hires say they feel fully prepared and supported to excel in their role after their onboarding experience. Involve the talent in a small but significant project task and constantly keep an update on the onboarding process to show that you care about the new talent. Journey that's intuitive and easy, which is the process part of it. The structure and execution of your onboarding program are also paramount. Employees want clear expectations for training and orientation. Absolutely. A well-defined onboarding structure and a pace of learning that makes them feel well prepared. Right. One-page onboarding plan instruction, leverage technology to onboard. I'm like in today's word of MS Teams, WhatsApp, Zoom, Google Meets, etc., etc. Right. Now, let me share a couple of other things as well. One is The first 100 days are very critical when a new employee comes on board, irrespective of the level. Why? Because these are, I mean, like research has shown that any new employee in any organization decides in first 100 days whether he would like to build a career with this company or not. I'm not saying that the person would leave in 100 days, but has made a decision कि 6 महीने की इनिंग करनी है, कि साल भर की इनिंग करनी है, कि 14 महीने की, 15 महीने की, कितने की इनिंग करनी है, वो करके निकल जाएगा, या मतलब लंबा चलना है. So that the first 100 days are very, very important, right? Secondly, please involve them into critical decision making, strategic decision making, and that's how you are adding value to their work and they are adding value to the organization, right? हम सबको लगता है कि हमारे पास रॉकेट साइंस है, रॉकेट का कोई फॉर्मूला है जो अगर सबको शेयर करा तो पब्लिक डोमेन में चला जाएगा, राइट? प्लीज रिमेंबर, एक्सेप्ट फॉर रॉकेट साइंस नथिंग इज रॉकेट साइंस. तो वो चाहे आप ऑर्गेनिक मसाले बना रहे हो, चाहे टी शर्ट्स बन रही हो, चाहे दवाइयां बन रही हो, चाहे एनी अदर बिजनेस, इट्स ऑल अबाउट पीपल, राइट? आप मतलब वो मत बनाइए कि हम अपना सीक्रेट है, वो रुकमानी है दवा खाने की तरह का ना, कि कुछ सीक्रेट है. वो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. अब नथिंग, एब्सोल्युटली नथिंग. ये हमारी मतलब वो है, सोच है, संकुचित सोच है कि हमको लगता है कि हम अपना मसाला अपने पास रख लेंगे तो विल कीप ग्रोइंग, विदाउट रियलाइजिंग कि भगवान न करे कुछ किसी दिन कुछ हो गया आपको, तो उसी दिन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बंद हो जाएगी, कि मसाला पता ही नहीं है किसी को. Now these are some lighter moments, and I would like you to watch this very carefully. So the question is, what if the wrong talent is onboarded? So क्या होता है, उसका नतीजा बता रहे हैं आपको. So product idea by the organization, designed by engineering, built by manufacturing. This is installation, right? And the best part is, अब आपको पता लगेगा कि कस्टमर की नीड क्या थी, and this was the customer's need. So that's where onboarding the right talent or the best talent is important. And that's what I firmly believe. The best way to predict is the future to create it. As entrepreneurs, if you have always think the way you always thought, you will always get what you always got. And that would be from my side. Even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. So that's all from me and Neelesh. Any questions?
Anything? Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. It was quite eye-opening to see how much of effort can actually go into onboarding the kind of talent that is there, and how important it is, even for a startup, even for a big company. It is quite important now. Yes, we've realized that. So there is a question by Kais. He says, I chose C. So it is in reference to what Nilesh ji showed us. I chose C because I wouldn't like to have people on the extreme side of any trait.
Okay. Now, see, it is good that this is your thought process. But as I said, as per the science behind the disc profiling, which is done, usually actually it's a very long issue, very long topic. I think it would take even more than 2-3 hours to just understand how this flows, how it is all conducted, though it's a 7-minute test. But the analysis post that takes good amount of time. The strokes, like an upward going stroke or a downward going stroke, all of those have different meanings. And once you've actually gone through the complete training of disc, that is when you will understand like why I compared it with the HAA vis-a-vis this one. The reason was again the flick up.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was the reason. Thank you.
And guys, one more thing.
Yeah.
As I said, suspend judgment. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like I told you the bottlenecks. Where are the bottlenecks? So in your business, you are the biggest bottleneck. Right? And then please remember, I would not like to get an extreme. This is what is your question or your statement says. Right?
Yes.
Why not?
It has sometimes it has its own implications.
No. Why not?
So
would you like to hire Virat Kohli in your team or KL Rahul? Both of them wonderful human beings, wonderful cricketers.
See, exceptional talent is one, but when we are talking about personality traits, and we are looking at an organization which has which is open to all sorts of people, and there'll be a multicultural mix, extremes can be harmful. That's my opinion.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's your opinion.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, guys. Don't overgeneralize. That's what my request is.
Because this wasn't a specific case here. We haven't been presented with anything. So it was a very generic thing. It was left to your assumptions.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's correct. Absolutely.
Would there be any more questions? We can take it up in the chat box or directly.
Yeah. So my question, this is more of a quick question to anybody who can answer both of them. This is the particular PPT which you are sharing with us, Neelesh?
Yes, this we can. And alongside this, there is another
PDF. There's a
Q&A PDF, which actually has a few examples and things which will be helpful in terms of the referencing as well.
Right. And you told us about this tool by Thomas.
Yeah, DISC assessment. Yes.
Is it too much of a thing to understand for the head of the company, or do you think we need to have a specific resource to actually understand and actually start using this for onboarding the talent?
See, again, DISC is something which is already available. Okay. Too much of a time-taking thing, I wouldn't say, but yes, for entrepreneurs, it would require some time to be spent on that tool to understand, and then doing the post-analysis in terms of how it fits in. So instead of that, what I was looking at is probably more to using the already existing platform where you can get the HAA done, or usually HAA is something which you can get done somebody who is a person who's qualified or who's certified to conduct that. And PPAs and all, of course, you can always take that.
Why I'm asking this is quite a few of our members or the attendees here would not have a full-time HR personnel there. So that's why I was asking, is it easy enough for an entrepreneur who's actually, jiska sar, pair, haath, sab alag-alag jagah mein hota hai, should he take time out then to be able to do justice to the job?
I think it is good to have some certified consultant handle it. Instead of, see again, you can do as much as you can do, right, as an entrepreneur. But there are always things which you should outsource and get the right people who have the qualification, certification to take care of those things, right? Because otherwise you'll be spending too much money on something which, and time as well, because time is money, which is not actually needed. In case if you have somebody certified, that is the best way to go.
So, all right. So which means, is it an easily outsourceable? Can one SME or a startup outsource this easily, or does it require a long process to outsource this particular kind of a thing?
No. I don't think it takes too much of a. It's not that tasking a thing. See, basically, it is just about getting the person to handle, understand, and then probably look at getting these PPS. To anyhow are even available. But
so which means, let's say if that entrepreneur selects, the founder selects, shortlist certain candidates, we can hire an expert to actually fine tune it and finalize, give the final decision on, okay, out of these 4 shortlisted, you should go ahead with this kind of thing can be done?
Yes. The analysis part, yes, you can. But for that, you also need to have somebody who has actually helped to prepare the human job analysis for the role for which you're hiring.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yes.
And Sachin ji, मेरा एक सवाल है, गाड़ी है? You own a car, right?
Some joke is coming probably.
Yeah. Do you also own a petrol pump?
No. Got it.
I mean, like the petrol is outsourced, na? To the petrol pump wala, right? And that's where I'm saying, please focus. Every entrepreneur on this session today should focus only on the core. Absolutely, hardcore core business. क्या है आपका? Outsource the rest, which is not core.
And I think Dr. Arpita has
a question.
Yeah.
Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, I'm Shweta on behalf of Dr. Arpita.
Yes. Hello, Shweta.
I'm handling the HR profile in here. So I need to ask something, like when we are interviewing some candidates, they show some positive vibes, they do consent for everything, what we are saying, what we are asking, every time everything goes fully, that they will 1 day or 2 days they just do the deny. We won't be able to join, showing some medical conditions, showing some health issues, showing some problem. So in that case, our whole exercise go in vain, everything comes to a zero, and we have to re-exercise the same thing again and again. So in that case, what we can do?
So I'm like, I couldn't register the name of the individual because she said I'm on behalf of Dr. Arpita Anand. Shweta, आपने जो अपना कष्ट बताया है, ये कष्ट पूछो यहाँ पे किसको नहीं है? किसी भी एंटरप्रेन्योर को आप फोन करके पूछो, उसको ये कष्ट है. True. So the point is, अभी कष्ट है तो क्या हुआ? मतलब अगर सब कोरोना से पीड़ित हैं तो उसका ये मतलब थोड़ी है कि मेरे को भी कोरोना से पीड़ित होना है ना?
Right.
So the point is, आप जब तक आपका व्यक्ति ऑन बोर्ड नहीं होता है, one, keep the person engaged, and that's part of the onboarding process, right? And secondly, always keep a backup and keep the person warm. You can't make 2 offers for the same role, because अगर दोनों लोगों ने ज्वाइन कर लिया तो मतलब कॉस्ट डबल हो जाएगी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में मैन पावर की. The point is, always keep a buffer or a backup, right? And keep the person engaged. हमारे लिए हम लोग most of the I'm sorry, I've been an HR professional myself with over 31 years. हमारे लिए क्या होता है? ऑफर भेज दिया, लीला समाप्त, कहानी खत्म. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
We have to keep the person engaged. Extra क्या? What extra are you doing? Dr. Arpita Anand की तरफ से या राजेश मोहन राय की तरफ से गए हैं. What is the difference? Why should somebody join Dr. Arpita Anand's organization and not Rajesh Mohan Rai's organization?
At times things are discussed in that way also, that what we'll be providing them, what we have, the career orientation for them. These things are also discussed while the interaction, but still it's not working. I guess mindsets are on that way, so that they are not ready or they are not in the state of taking the decision also.
तो इसका क्या मतलब
it is also there, I guess.
श्वेता, इसका क्या मतलब है? What are you deducing or concluding from that question or the statement which you made?
Maybe I guess for offering them position, we can take time for like 10 to 15 days before offering
Start
them.
looking inward.
That's
Shweta,
what
start
I'm
looking
saying.
inward, not outward. Start looking inward.
Before
Which
giving
means
them
the
offer, we can
shortlisting
wait.
of the candidate is not the
How
right.
they are keen to
Shweta,
join us.
hold on, bache, hold on. you are still looking outward. The time has come to look inward. When I say inward, means inside the organization from outside. Right? इसका मतलब सिर्फ ये है कि we are not doing the due diligence before we shortlist the candidate. Right? हम जो भी आ रहा है और उसको हमने कहा ना, वो बीपीओ, कॉल सेंटर, इंश्योरेंस, टेलीकॉम की जो सेल्स वाले होते हैं, दो टांगे हैं, हाँ, दो हाथ हैं, दो आंखें हैं, एक स्कूटर है, आ जाओ, भाई यही क्वालिफिकेशन है. Right? So don't look. That's what I'm saying. Look inward.
Right.
Look inward.
Okay.
Why are people not joining us? Have you made have you done any kind of analysis कि हमने कितने लोगों को ऑफर दिया और कितने लोग ने डिक्लाइन किया?
Yeah, we are working on these things also.
Yeah. So first do that analysis for a 3, 4, 5 months period, and then reach out to, then find out what are the main reasons. Like I'm giving you a completely different example. And this is very, I mean, like, very important element. And that is, my son was getting admitted to AFMC in Pune, right? So उन्होंने जितने कैंडिडेट आए सबका पूरा मेडिकल टेस्ट कराया.
जी.
पूरा मेडिकल टेस्ट जो नॉर्मली सिलेक्शन के बाद होता है, जैसे हम जो अभी नीलेश कह रहे थे, वैसे इमेजिन करिए कि जितने कैंडिडेट आए आपने सबका कोई ना कोई साइकोमेट्रिक असेसमेंट कराया.
जी, राइट.
मैंने उनसे पूछा, जो वहां पे कर्नल इंचार्ज थे एडमिशन के, कर्नल सालिमत, उनसे मैंने पूछा कि सर व्हाई, आई मीन, लाइक, डोंट यू थिंक इट्स एन एक्सपेंसिव अफेयर? ही सेड आई एग्री दैट इट्स एन एक्सपेंसिव अफेयर, बट व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इज दैट हम जिन लोगों को सिलेक्ट करते हैं वो जब ज्वाइन करते हैं और जब उनका मेडिकल वो कराया जाता है, उसमें से कोई अनफिट होने के बाद हमारे नंबर खत्म हो जाते हैं और उस बच्चे का करियर खत्म हो जाता है 1 साल के लिए.
राइट.
तब तक सीटें भर गई.
Correct.
Right? I'm talking in a different context, but what I'm trying to make a point is that
I'm getting.
Yeah, let's look internal.
Yes, thank you so much.
And I think there is another question from Jairam. A company uses an HR consultant who has designed their own psychometric tool, which we use in our recruitment.
It's just a comment that I could relate to the PPA that you were talking about, and this tool that our HR consultant has designed. In fact, we have had this HR consultant work with us for more than 10 years. They designed our HR policy manual itself was designed by them in consultation with our top management.
Right.
And the recruitment process also has been, they have helped define that, at least this psychometric evaluation part.
So that is wonderful. See, Jairam, again, as I said, that there are innumerous tools available, right? And in case I'm sure they have prepared something, they would have done their due diligence in terms of what goes in, what comes out. And so what I gave an example is probably one of the established tools which we majorly make use of. However, yes, there are still many others available, and it's totally fine. In case if it suits the requirement, then go for it. That's fine.
Yeah, I would certainly like to know more about the PPA tool and then I guess compare it against what we are currently using. Because the question often comes up in our company, is this tool really useful? Are we evaluating candidates correctly? Are we losing good candidates? And so on, right? So the tool itself needs to be evaluated periodically.
So probably, yeah, sure. In case if any questions around desk or anything, you can always get back in touch with me. Maybe my contact details are anyhow available. So maybe we can have a discussion. That's fine.
Jairam.
Yes, sir.
As per SEBI and ROC, the company is free to change even the auditor in 3 to 5 years' time.
Okay.
I think it is time for you to change your HR consultant. It's been with 10 years.
Why do you say that, sir?
10 saal, if you have been working with him for 10 years, and yet you are doubting the person, whether the tool provided by the person is yielding the desired result or not, that's good enough reason for you to have a look.
No, it's just one aspect of our engagement, which is
Yeah.
this recommendation.
The second would be always look for somebody who's not close to your owners and promoters.
Right.
Because then you, as a consultant, what happens is the person actually tends to become a yes man.
Yeah. No, when I say consultant, it's actually a firm. It's not a individual. So we have. Yeah. Okay.
Irrespective, that's what I'm saying. But the firm doesn't come. The representative of the firm comes.
Who has changed over the years? So I guess the perspective also
owner
changes.
of the firm changed.
Well, owner of the firm is same, but at the operating level that we work with or we engage with, there are some personal changes.
Fine. Any other questions?
Would there be any more questions?
I think Shreya Sangla had a question. She had raised her hand. Is she around?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Sachin. Actually, you were asking the same things which I was facing. I do face every day in my working with a company as an HR person there. And yes, these are the tests which Mr. Neelesh have mentioned to us. We have to see how I would also like to apply them for my company so that we can also onboard exact talent which we are looking for. And I'm really thankful for Mr. Rajesh Mohan Rai for giving such an insightfulness for entrepreneurs to look inside to our working, to our approach towards building up a good team. Thank you so much, sir. That's
Thank you, Sangla. Thank you so much.
And such great energy, sir, because you are always full of energy.
Thank you. Thank you, Shreya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, can we invite Mr. Sachin Sahni from TiE Lucknow to give his thoughts and a closing remark on the same?
I think we have Darshan here from TiE Vadodara. Can we have his remarks and his closing remarks and a thank you note from him? Darshan, are you around here?
Yes, Sachin.
Please. Over to you.
Well, what a Sunday morning it was. In fact, it was worth cancelling the family lunch and attending this workshop of Mr. Rajesh and Mr. Neelesh. So it was a wonderful session. In fact, I would say that it was a wonderful session because the talent, the workshop on the talent, which every startup or the 100-year-old company faces while recruiting. So that's the biggest challenge in every industry. So very well explained that how we can streamline the process of recruiting through different medium. And in fact, being an entrepreneur, I would say that in case if we miss out the recruiting the good talent, it's our job to make it best and keep the show running. So I would thank both the speakers for giving a wonderful insight, especially to TiE Lucknow for organizing this workshop along with TiE Vadodara and TiE Coimbatore. And I'm sure that every participant today would have loved being here and would get some insights and definitely implement the processes in their respected organizations. So thank you once again to all the participants, the TiE Coimbatore team, TiE Lucknow team, Shreya for wonderfully moderating the session. And once again, a special thanks to both of our speakers, Mr. Nilesh Kapoor and Mr. Rajesh Mohan Rai, for allowing us to be a part of this wonderful event. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Darshan ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sachin ji, your thoughts?
Thanks. No,
Thank you.
All has been spoken, whatever was required. If Devesh is around, the chair of the event, he can officially close the event, and also what are his plans for the follow-up events?
So first of all, I would seriously like to express my gratitude to both the learned speakers, Dr. Rai and Mr. Neelesh, for sparing their time. And as far as also different chapters of TiE Coimbatore and TiE Vadodara, for collaborating with us. And the future plans, as mentioned earlier, that we are planning a sort of a series of events, especially related with human resource. The next plan can be like employee training, followed by employee engagements and promotions. And we would also like to invite suggestions from members and special members, and also participating TiE chapters, so that we can customize the sessions, coming webinars sessions according to their requirement. Also, I would like to, as COVID is now minimizing, so we can also have some offline events as well. That's it from my side.
I think we can officially thank both the speakers once again. Thank you.
Thank you, TiE chapters, Lucknow, Coimbatore, and Vadodara. And looking forward to our further interaction. And please feel free to reach out to TiE Lucknow for any support required. Nilesh is there, Sachin is there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Have a great Sunday, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nilesh, sir.